John Berardi, welcome to the show.
Thanks very much. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely, man. It's funny. My wife doesn't know many people that I interview, but when I mentioned that I was interviewing the founder or the co-founder of Precision Nutrition, she was like, "Oh, my coach sends me information on them all the time." Like, so she's getting your infographics and stuff. So I was like, "Oh,
that's great."
John has spread his influence all over the place, even in my own home."
Yeah, I love infiltrating the family unit with information that hopefully helps people.
Oh, of course. Well, obviously, it's helped people to the place that it's grown. I wanted to ask you, like, what was the vision for you in starting Precision Nutrition in the first place?
Yeah. So for those folks listening in who don't know, I've been retired for a little while. So it's, you get a full pass for not knowing who I am or what I did when I was working. But especially nowadays, I feel like with the pace that information travels and new things are cropping up, like you retire for 3 to 5 years and you might as well be gone 100 years. But yeah, I mean, so, I started this company, Precision Nutrition, and we went on to become the world's largest, nutrition education, coaching and software company. And when you ask about the vision at the beginning, there wasn't any. I didn't really have that kind of a plan. I come from a very working class immigrant family, didn't have big entrepreneurial dreams or anything like that. I didn't have any of those kind of certainly expectations for myself. But, I've written about this before, so we don't have to rehash it all on the podcast. But, I also kind of had a toughish upbringing and had a rough go through my teenage and high school years. And it was really kind of finding the gym toward the latter part of my high school and then early university years and finding some real solid mentorship there that put me on a positive life track. And so just kind of having this passion for exercise, fitness, sport to some extent, nutrition, that just became the thing. I just wanted to learn lots about it, So and many people listening can probably appreciate this. It's probably how you got here also, right? Like, I was thinking about something else, but then this came into my life and it benefited me so tremendously. And then, yada, 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 I decided to make a career out of it. Right. And so I didn't have a vision for it. It was just like, what's interesting? What's fun? What am I curious about? Let me explore that. Where is that going to take me next? Oh, okay. Well, it takes me to graduate school. All right, cool. I still don't have to choose my career yet. I'll be a student for a really long time. Don't have to worry too much about making money because I was able to get some, tuition assistance and, teaching assistantship. You make a couple bucks there, so you can still like continue delaying the inevitable of having to be a grown up and find, work in the world, and just pursuing those curiosities and interests in this particular space. And also finding out like, where are people not going in the space? Because like when I got started, nowadays it's so different. So it'd be hard for people to picture what it was like. But most of the people interested in this kind of stuff either went out and became like a strength coach, personal trainer, right? Or if they were interested in nutrition, nutritional biochemistry and stuff, they would go work for a supplement company. Those were like the only two kind of visible paths if you're into these kind of things. And I was really interested in strength and conditioning and that kind of stuff. But I realized, man, there's so many of them. It would just all be competition for me, right? Every person who was into the same things I'm into would be my competitor now. And that doesn't feel great. And from some of the shenanigans I saw in the supplement industry at the time, and they're still going on, it's no different, but that didn't feel like a wholesome place to try and build a career. Some of my friends with PhDs who were well educated, they, would go work for one company and then there'd be like some kind of shakeup there or some kind of scandal. And then they go to another company and it'd be like this, merry-go-round of company to company to company. And that didn't seem great to me. So that's when I was like, I really love doing education. During my graduate school, that's where I really found a lot of joy, where I'd go learn things in scientific journals and in the lab doing experiments. And then I'd want to just like share them with a lot of people. And I want to share them with my community, not just the scientific community, right? My people, the weightlifting people, the fitness people, the people who want to eat healthy for whatever, longevity or sport. So I was like, okay, cool. Education. All right. How do you do that? So at the time, education was just travel around the globe and do speaking circuits. And that wasn't for me either. Didn't like to travel that much. I like to be home in my own routine, much more introverted than the typical speaker. This is kind of a roundabout way of answering your question, but I'm getting to like, there's all these things that are possible in the spaces I'm interested in and curious about. None of them feel like a really great fit. And right at that time, the internet's emergent, right? Like most people are on dial-up just before this minute of starting Precision Nutrition. And then all of a sudden everyone has dial-up, high speed, seemingly overnight. So now you're like, oh, I could actually do education on the internet. So like I could make videos and write articles and do all this kind of stuff. I'm fully aware this sounds like the most boring thing ever. You're like, well, of course you could do that. But back then it wasn't happening. There were no individual